What up, everybody? How we all doing this weekend? It's once again the Transformers Saturday Night Podcast live stream main event. How y'all doing? Ooh. Don't forget to wear your mask. My name is Proto Man. If you're new to this is the Saturday Night live stream. We hang out, we cover the Transformer news over the week. We take some super chats from the fans, discuss Transformers, talk about what's going to be coming this week, and just relax. So then, how's everyone doing? All my peeps are here. Let's get to it, shall we? Because it's going to be a busy week, so to speak. So we're going to start first on a bit of a sad note. If anyone saw my individual segment that I did where I kind of talked about the life of Brian Goldner. Brian passed away just a couple of days ago. Brian was the CEO of Hasbro and was a large part of the Transformer brand during the... Sorry, I'm just reading some of the comments. I apologize. I'm trying to be serious about this. During... the early 2000s, and was a big part of the Unicron trilogy and getting everything going. So if you want to learn more about Brian and his history and how he got to where he is today and how much of a big influence he was on the Transformers brand, I heavily suggest that after you're done with the stream tonight, go check out my individual segment that I talk about his life and, I mean, even his stuff that he did with Bandai back in the day before going to Hasbro. A lot of cool stuff. The closest I ever got to Brian was at BotCon 2011. He was there presenting the little clip that we got of Dark of the Moon before the rest of the world, along with Michael Bay. Pretty cool dude, from what I heard. Hopefully we'll be able to talk about him more on the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer in the near future, to celebrate the man and the name himself. Unfortunately, from what it sounds like, it was probably prostate cancer that led to him leaving us. So let that be a reminder to everyone. If you're a man over 40, be sure to get yourself checked out. It's a tough one. So rest in peace, Brian. You were very important to a huge proponent of the Transformer world, and I mean practically key to Transformers getting the live action movies and everything that we have here today. So there's that. Now then, let's try to bring it up a bit. I didn't want to have to start it on a downer, but I felt it would only be respectful to talk about Brian at the beginning of the show. So let's get into the news. We're going to start with Super 7. Super 7 revealed a whole bunch of stuff at New York Comic-Con just this past weekend. But there was some stuff that they shared for their social media and their online. And it was that of their Super Cyborg line, which a lot of people have been critical of. I mean, look, I understand where people are coming from. Some people are calling them oversized reactions with a huge price tag. This clearly is aimed at a very specific market. That's, more of that vinyl kind of collector and stuff like that. But the one thing I could appreciate with these Super Cyborgs is it does something that historically hasn't been done in Transformers, and is to show the innards of famous G1 characters. So we finally get to see how the inside of Bumblebee looks under his chest and where a possible matrix of leadership could have potentially sat. I kind of posted that on my Twitter, just going like, what if, he had the Matrix. So, it's out there. They're going to do a cartoon colored version and a complete clear version. And these are going to be, $84.99. So that's a bit of a big pill to swallow for a lot of people. But at least it's something that's out there for Bumblebee completists or someone that's kind of curious and wants to have more of a, I guess, an art piece on display, if anything else. The Transformer world has gotten to a point where we have preschoolers that are collectors and even the artsy-fartsy of guys in their 50s. So that's just how it is with the fandom. Speaking also of Super 7, so when they did New York Comic Con, they talked about their Santa Prime, and they had it on display, mint on card, at the show for the licensing area. What was interesting is a lot of people didn't talk about what was on the back of the card. And we talked about it in the past segment this week. And it is that of a Wave 5 of Transformers Super 7 reaction figures. So we're going to be getting a Dino Mode Grimlock. He already had a Robot Mode version in Wave 2. We're going to be getting an RC, which oddly enough, looks like she's missing paint on her shoulders, but maybe that's a reason why this card back wasn't shown yet, because these aren't finals of the figure. We're getting a Reflector, more specifically the Viewfinder centerpiece member of Reflector, and we're getting Prowl. Now, another funny thing too is Prowl, for some weird reason, has purple in his font, implying that he's a Decepticon. And also on the back of the card back, both Perceptor and Blaster have their names reversed. So I think primarily why this card back wasn't made public, aside from the fact that it's showing Wave 5, is a lot of stuff is incorrect and probably just an early version. And that'll all be fixed afterwards. That's what I'm assuming. So these are a thing. They're coming out. So if you were excited about getting a, mini Grimlock or an RC figure or whatever, it's in the pipeline, and chances are we're going to see repaints of these. Probably a G2 Grimlock, a Medic RC, maybe we'll get Reflector without the Viewfinder centerpiece, so you could get your army building of Reflector on, and Prowl will probably be repainted into every Datsun brother under the sun. So just keep that in mind. And that puts us up now to, Super 7 is now up to 38, make note, 38 different figures now of their line, including obviously a bunch of convention exclusives, store exclusives, web exclusives, and so on. 38 of them. That's a lot. I'm probably getting that hot rod though, so I probably shouldn't speak. And that's it for the pretty much news this week. Not much, but let's talk about what's going to be coming next week. Let's talk about Hasbro Pulsecon next week. 2 epic days, October 22nd and the 23rd, Saturday and Sunday. There's going to be one Transformer panel. It's going to be the Transformers Fan Product Panel. It will be 40 minutes and will feature Rachel from marketing, which I think we've seen a few times already in the past. We're also going to have Mark, one of the designers. We're going to have Ben from marketing. Oh, Ben. And then it says here we have a special guest, Ben Burnley, which I had no idea. I had no idea who this person is. Supposedly he's from a group called, I don't know, something Benjamin, I think it was. So he's going to be supposedly involved with this. I have no idea why. Hopefully it'll make sense. And while they didn't mention it in the press release, on the website itself, also Vince DiCola was listed as a special guest too. So that's pretty cool also. Some people have speculated that the reason why Vince is going to be a special guest is he's going to be inducted into the Transformers Hall of Fame. But the thing is, Vince was already inducted into the Transformers Hall of Fame in 2013. Actually, the year right after Stan Bush. So I don't know why Vince is going to be there. Maybe they'll just do a small little interview or something. Also, obviously, they're probably going to be announcing the winners of the fan vote for everyone that did the fan vote this week of the number one Beast Wars character from Season 1 of Beast Wars, as well as the best Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom character. So here's the thing, guys. There's going to be 40 minutes for this. 40 minutes. So that means there's 40 minutes to talk about the fan vote and who won of both categories, involve these two special guests, and potentially, according to the blurb here, talk about what's going to be the next line for 2022 and 2023, aka Legacy, and this other item too that we'll get into in a moment, which is going to be the Hasbro Pulsecon exclusive item. Now, it pretty much means that we're probably going to learn about, I don't think, you know what, I'll be honest with you, I don't think we're going to learn much about Legacy that weekend. We might learn something, maybe some images, maybe some control art, maybe some packaging art or something. Think about Hasbro Pulsecon a year ago when we learned about Kingdom and what they showed us. They didn't show us a lot. They just kind of showed us this and that. And considering how much we know due to leaks and images and stuff like that, I think it's going to be very limited, but it will be something. And it's the same thing. Considering it's 40 minutes, they're probably very limited to what they could show just with that small window. Keep in mind, though, the Power Ranger panels are going to be in a grand total of an hour. The G.I. Joe panel is going to be barely an hour also. The only one that's really going to have a lot of time is Star Wars, I think, is going to have 2 hours, and the Marvel panels, I think, are going to be 2 hours also. But I think they have a lot more they have to cover, mostly because those are both licensed brands with Hasbro. They pay a lot more to have those licensed brands from Disney. So I think they need to really get their best bang out of their buck for hyping this. Where Transformers, they own it. They don't need to freak out, and they could probably do more of these Fan First Fridays or whatever afterwards. I wouldn't be surprised if after this Hasbro Pulse panel, they'll probably announce the date for the next one. But yeah, so keep that in mind. We'll find out why this Ben Burnley guy is going to be there. Maybe he's going to be involving something with Vince DiCola. Who knows? Vince is a background music kind of dude with synthesizers. Ben apparently is a lead singer of a group. So that might lead to some kind of collab that might be related to Transformers. Now then, in the blurb, they also mentioned how there's going to be a Hasbro Pulsecon exclusive that will go for sale on the following Sunday. This, by the way, this panel is going to be on Saturday. On Sunday, they're going to open up the Hasbro Pulse store so you could buy the exclusives. But what is the exclusive we're going to get? Well, they mention that it's going to be a companion piece for your HasLab Unicron with a whole bunch of little accessories. So what does that tell us? It's something that we learned all the way back in August. Let's talk about back in August of the 26th, 2021, we had leaked out a Galvatron figure that came with a whole bunch of little Unicron accessories. And it was a bunch of stuff. It was a bunch and a bunch and a bunch of stuff. Stinkfist69 says, just wanted to pop in before the movie starts. I'm at the theater to see Halloween Kills. See you next week. Keep it thick, Proto. Thank you, Stinkfist69, and enjoy the movie. And Michael Meyer. So getting back to it, this was an item that we saw early images of it, and different individuals who claimed to know what was going on with this said that it was going to be a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. The individuals that did claim that this was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive were reputable sources. So this is it. Let me just, one moment. Hold on. Just wanted to grab my water. I just realized it was on the other side of the room. So now we talked about this when this news broke back in August 26th, and the whole point is that this stuff is pretty much a DLC for Unicron. It's going to come with the junk ship. It's going to come with the Quintesson ship. It's going to come with the actual Revenge, not just the guns that look like the Revenge, which is Galvatron ship. And it's going to come with a whole bunch of little minifig slug figures, and they're called slugs because that's plastic slugs, of Ultra Magnus, Scourge, Perceptor, potentially Starscream. I mean, who else would it really be? Cyclonus, the Dinobots, all in Dino mode, which is Swoop, Slug, aka Slag, Snarl and Grimlock. Oddly, Sludge is the one that's missing. Someone should have got the memo on that one, but I get a feeling maybe Sludge will be included with someone else later. Generation 1 Megatron, RC, Thrust. I think it's Thrust just because he's the dude that got hit by Optimus in his first fight scene, along with Cup and Soundwave. So if you're someone that got either the Arc or that of Unicron, this will be a great companion piece to get all those little figures for your Arc playset and the inside and everything, or for Unicron for its exclusive stand. This will be going up again on that Sunday. So if you're someone who got Unicron, keep that in mind and get ready for it. And also just to show guys like what past figures there've been. We had the Centaurion drone. That was the first one to do it, where we got a little mini Optimus figure. And then, of course, the Arc had that same Optimus figure, but repainted into red. And then, of course, Unicron had the red Hot Rod and the purple Galvatron, along with the Autobot ship, or the Autobot shuttle. So this will be a nice companion piece for a lot of people. And just something kind of really cool. Just something really cool. But, yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. And we'll see what happens in the future. Again, it really is a DLC, as I like to put it. And last but not least, what I want to cover also, and a lot of people were sending me this, and I just wanted to kind of put that one to rest. There was an image of a supposed Inferno for Legacy that was kicking around and everything. And shout out to Christopher Quinn, one of my patrons and one of my guys on my Discord, and we solved it pretty much. So that on the left was the image that people were claiming is what the Legacy Inferno is going to look like. On the right is a piece of art done by a fan from God knows when. So it is what it is, but it's something that, guys, don't fall for everything you see online. It happens. But there's a lot of websites, I don't want to name them, it wasn't TFW, I'll just say that kind of scramble to put news out right away, regardless of doing their due diligence and making sure the facts are there. And people were posting this image saying that it was legitimate, the Inferno figure from Legacy. It's not. Don't worry about it. We don't know what it looks like yet. The only confirmed image we have thus far is that of the Metroplex. That's it. So just keep that in mind. Now then, that's it more or less for the news. It's kind of a quiet week. I know for sure next week is going to be very busy. We'll have a lot to talk about next week. So just keep that in mind. Be sure to tune in next week for that. But there's a lot of stuff that's going to be shown. So just keep in mind, if you are someone that got Unicron and you want to get, this Galvatron, it will be on Sunday up for pre-order. Keep that close to your breast. Also, just want to mention, again, we have the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. Episode 2 is out there if you want to listen to it. We talk about the movie Batman toys from the 90s, as well as what was going on at Hasbro at the time. A nice, good listen, along with the previous episodes that we've done. Be sure to check that out. And if you have any questions, be sure to submit them about Batman, because we're going to be recording the next episode very soon, and we'll try to get your questions in for that. So, also, again, got to mention the sponsors. Symbiote Studios, symbiotestudios.com, along with Hasbro, the official plush pins and t-shirts of Transformers. So today I'm wearing my Cat Bravo Symbiote Studios, that's their mascot, along with the Shark, who's chilling back there with everybody. And we got Optimus and the crew. I'm wearing their Optimus pin, their pin pack and everything. So be sure to check them out, symbiotestudios.com, the official Transformer shirts and plush and pins. Pretty cool stuff. Really love everything they do. And of course, they have their own convention exclusive coming, and it's that of a gigantic pillow Unicron. Absolutely massive. Definitely one way to go to bed. So stay tuned for that. That one's not ready yet, but that one will be out there. So again, symbiotestudios.com. The link is also down there if you forgot where to click. We got a gold super chat from Lizard Sphere X, and he wants to know, thank you, Lizard Sphere, this Galvatron reminds me of the Marvel Celestials from Jack Kirby days. Well, Jack Kirby, the way he colored was very different, has a very Tron look, and the microfigs help. So now that I am at, yeah, it's true actually, because you would think the Galvatron is huge, and then you have the little, yeah, it's true, I guess, when you think about it. So now I imagine he's eaten too much Dark Energon and ends up huge, and now has become a mad god. Yeah, that's one way to look at it. I mean, obviously it's supposed to be a reformatting Galvatron, and they just had to do something with that mold, and the figures don't really make sense with the scale. The figures in a vacuum, then your story makes sense. But, you know, we all know what they're trying to do here, really. But yeah, yeah. Now that I think about it, it is funny though. It is funny when you think about it, because like, it's kind of like me, like how I used to have my old Blaster figure, and I have my Micromasters with him, and Blaster would be so huge compared to them, and I pretend like Blaster was Autobot City. But yeah, you know, that's one way to look at it. It's true. But I am excited about it, because as someone that does have Unicron, you know, it'd just be kind of cool to fill up all that stuff over there. That'd be pretty cool. And put all the other ships and stuff. So we will see. We will see what happens. You know, we will see come Saturday. Because Saturday is the Transformer panel. Sunday is when they're going to open it up. So what I do suggest is, even though if there might not be Transformer stuff on the Sunday, check out the panel anyways. Because there might be little things. Who knows? There's going to be a Magic the Gathering panel. And I know that they're going to be doing some stuff with Universe Beyond, which might involve Transformers. Who knows? So we'll check that out. But that's it, more or less. Let's talk about what we got this week. People already saw at the beginning of the segment. Yeah. So obviously Halloween is coming up. I was just passing by one of the, like, you know, I guess we'll call it seasonal Halloween stores that pop up. And they had this for $4 Canadian. And I was like, why not? That'd be cool. For me, it's like, it's not even to wear, because it's more to wear for kids. I was thinking I'd probably just hang it up on the wall. Like, it'd be cool to have it, like, you know, somewhere like this. You know, that'd be kind of cool. Maybe I'll hang it up at the entrance to the room or something. But nice little G1 Prime. It says here it was made in 2019. So I don't know. I guess it was an evergreen kind of product. Has a little bit of foam there too for the bridge of your forehead, I guess. I think it was probably just an evergreen product or something. They didn't have any other characters, because then I would have, like, if I would have saw the Bumblebee, I'd have a better idea. Maybe it was for Cyberverse. Who knows? Who knows? But pretty cool. Pretty cool. What's up, Aaron? How you doing, brother? Also got some interesting stuff in the mail. I finally was able to procure. I kind of regretted never getting this guy. Anyone who saw on my Twitter and Instagram recently, this is the Hero Mashers, Robo Mashers, Heatwave. He had a very weird distribution here in Canada. I only saw him at like supermarkets and weird Market 6 kind of stores, and they were asking way too much for him. So I kind of was like, oh, I really want to get it because it's based off of a BotCon design, and that's kind of wacky. But he was like, I think he was like $19.99 or like $20, and I was like, I ain't paying that. So, and then of course he just disappeared off the face of the planet. Not much of a secondary market, and I just kind of forgot about it. And then I managed to get one for $4. So very happy. Obviously it's missing his gun. He's a little loose, but I mean, it's still pretty cool. Photographs well, and I was able to do that nice little photo shoot on top of that for Instagram. And the last thing I got straight from Korea, from one of my distributors of little minifigs, I got a little minifig of King Poseidon, God Neptune. This is the God Neptune version. It's a keychain from Beast Wars 2nd of God Neptune. Obviously the key ring would have went there. Nice little minifig, doesn't really do much. He's going to go in my display. I have a whole bunch of little mini figures of God Neptune. Maybe I should do a photo shoot of that, because I have like all these little figures of him, like all these combined figures. They're cute from Beast Wars 2nd. I have a nice little collection of them. Maybe I'll take a photo shoot and put it on Instagram and Twitter. But yeah, just got those three. Nothing too major. You know, but this was the one I was actually excited about. This was pretty cool. I really wanted to, because I love like the Hero Masher line. And actually on my couch in a corner, I've been kind of hoarding together a whole bunch of the Marvel ones and all the other ones because I want to like Hot Rod with Wolverine's arms or something. Like I want to do some crazy photo shoots with those. I have Spider-Man, I have Captain America, I have Iron Man, and I have 2 different versions of Wolverine, and then I have all the different Transformer ones, and I want to mix and mash them and stuff. So it'd be pretty cool. But yeah, we have a super chat from Princeton Phoenix 59. How you doing, Princeton? What are your thoughts on the Masterpiece Ryden combiner mold? Will be about 29 centimeters tall or 11 inches tall. Well, if it is 11 inches tall, because right now, as you're saying that, I'm looking at the Combiner Wars stuff. That would kind of suck if that's true. Because that wouldn't make them that much taller than a Combiner Wars combiner. I mean... Excuse me one moment. Let's just take a look. Ready? Yeah. So, the tallest of the Combiner Wars stuff would probably have to be Volcanicus, obviously not counting, the Titan class stuff like Devastator and Predaking, but of the standard size ones, Volcanicus is probably the tallest, and Volcanicus is exactly almost 12 inches. Giggity. So that would kind of suck, but I think it also lends credence to maybe in the future this MPG Masterpiece line. I've talked about this in the past already. I get a feeling that the MPG line might actually feature stuff that is part of Legacy that's going to be future combiners, aka Motormaster, as part of the MPG line. It's not out of the question because in the past when we had the MPM movie line, the very first MPM movie toys were retail American product, more specifically that Ultimate class Bumblebee and that Leader class Starscream that we got during like 2009, 2010. So essentially, we'll see. We'll see, but I mean, if that is what people have estimated, that kind of sucks because I was really hoping that it would be something that's bigger than, say, like Starsaber. That's what I was hoping for, because like Starsaber was always tall as some combiners, so to have like Starsaber be taller than them, I don't know. But yeah, we'll see. I hope that's not true. I hope. I mean, I saw that some people were like they were measuring the chest piece and stuff. But I'm just hoping that maybe it's incorrect and maybe like the leg pieces are much larger. But we'll see. It would be a bummer though. But at the same time, it almost would make sense for how Hasbro and Takara wants to do the future of stuff. But we'll see. Detective Ferret wants to know, what was the first exclusive Transformer? If you don't count running changes and regional exclusives, because... To give an example, Canada had an exclusive, and it's what the podcast was named after initially. Oh man, you can't even see it. Red Face Slag. So Slag normally had a black face for his American release. He had a red face for his Canadian release, which was like 50-50. And that was technically the first ever exclusive Transformer. It was exclusive to the Canadian region. Afterwards, then if you want to be specific, like, something that was intended as an exclusive, not just a running change or something, I'd have to go with the Transformers Legends line, which was they took just the individual robots of the classic Pretenders, which was Bumblebee, Starscream, Jazz, and Grimlock, just the individual robots, and they were sold on their own in the UK, which was technically, I want to say, the first ever, like, intended exclusive. Like, this is something different that's an exclusive. Otherwise, it's regional stuff, and, then we get into, let's look at Ryden. Ryden was an exclusive during 1987 that we didn't get over here in Japan. And then if you dial it more back, there's some other, exclusive Headmasters in 1986. Late 1986, early 1987, and then weird little PVC figures and decoys exclusive to Japanese regions. If you're talking store exclusives, then we're really it's tough to really pin that down. because there was exclusive 2-pack, like, gift pack stuff, if you want to count that, I guess. But even then, that's like, Sears had like, exclusive 2-pack stuff that was just like a piece of cardboard over 2 like mini bots. So it's a tough one to jump into. I'd have to really like break it down, and then there's semantics and all of that. First ever BotCon exclusive, I could tell you. That was breakdown. So that's the first time exclusive really mattered. First true store exclusive that was like big advertising, I'd have to say like Machine Wars. That was a KB Toys exclusive. But there's stuff that predates that. There was like a Walmart exclusive stuff that was being done during Beast Wars 2. So there's a whole bunch. Then you ask, and when do you plan doing a house tour? I did one a while back when I used to do the streaming on my iPad, but ever since the HD era of Transformer Slag began with the podcast, I can't bring it around anymore. And you know what I noticed too? Typical Canadian upload internet is garbage. The more I go away from the computer, like I went into the game room, I lose the connection. I remember, I don't know if anyone remembers when I showed you guys the game room and stuff, the video game room, lost the connection. There's videos online of my collection. Granted, the videos are from like 2017, but it gives you a pretty good idea of how the room is and stuff. But then there's other rooms in the house too. I understand some people want to see like the manga room and the video game room and some of the other stuff. My living room's pretty boring. Just has DVDs and stuff and video game consoles. But maybe one day. Maybe one day. Can't do it now because the way HD technology is, wired is best, So we'll see what happens in the future. Maybe I'll get something really good. Princeton says here, $1,200 for 12 inches. Not good at all. That's why I'm really hoping that maybe the information is incorrect. I mean, because that'd be pretty crazy. Because when you really think about it, if each individual guy is, the thing that's weird is they were showing images of a lot of them next to some of the more Hashishi Yuko bots, which are like the smaller masterpieces of. And it was just like he was taller than Sideswipe. And Sideswipe is like a large deluxe, if anything. So I think that maybe he's probably bigger. I'm not, don't quote me on it, but it's just it'd be crazy. It would be crazy though. It really would be. It really would be. Media Max wants to know, is it possible Paramount and Disney could do a deal to put Transformers in the MCU, like Disney's deal to use Spider-Man, or is that too much of a hassle? I don't think Hasbro wants to get involved with Disney. I really don't. I think Disney has actually, behind closed doors, tried to buy Hasbro many times, and Hasbro has said no. They are very happy to license the Star Wars brand, or they call them partnerships on their what are they called there? Their quarterly reports with investors. But I really feel that while they're very happy to get those brands to make toys out of and make profit from, I don't think Hasbro wants to do it the other way around. And in all honesty, I think the MCU would only show any interest when they stop having that momentum and making money. And considering that they're probably going to get back the rights to a bunch of other stuff, like Spider-Man at some point, they'll just milk those brands. They don't need Transformers. They really don't. They really don't. In a lot of ways, Transformers needs them. They don't need Transformers. Like, Transformers being in a Marvel movie would do more for the Transformer brand and eyeballs than it would the other way around. So it's more like, when will we see Transformers with G.I. Joe? Because there's a brand that needs Transformers, if anything. So we will see. We will see. Princess says, if you want to spend $1,200 on 12 inches, I would go to a doctor and get 12 inches. Well, take it from me. That's a lot of hassle in the old pants, Very uncomfortable. Yep. Anyways, but I really, personally, I would not want Disney anywhere near the Transformer brand. I really wouldn't. I think Disney does more harm than help when it comes to a lot of the brands that they've handled, and a lot of the Marvel movies. After Infinity War Endgame, I just kind of stopped going to theaters to see Marvel movies. I just didn't care anymore at that point. I got my Thanos story. I'm happy. And unless like we get some kind of like Infinity, Adam Warlock, Infinity Watch 2.0, some kind of continuation story, which probably we will. I just don't care. I watched the What If stuff. Some of it was good. Some of it was kind of meh. But in general, meh. I love Marvel. I have a huge display of Thanos near my bathroom. It's not intentional. It's just, it's where it is. But I think I got my fix, and now everything I'll just see, on television and whatever, or through dubious means, and not have to give Disney my money, because I'm not a big fan of Disney. I really am. I'm really not. Detective Ferret wants to know, do you think we will get a Masterpiece Megazord? Well, we got a Soul of Chogokin Megazord. We got a Bandai of America Legacy Megazord. Chances are, while there won't be a Masterpiece Megazord, they'll probably do some kind of Power Rangers Lightning Collection Special Edition Megazord. They'll probably do some kind of collector item. They're starting to do that now with the weapons and stuff, so I would not... They're going to do what the Legacy Collection was before with Bandai with the Power Ranger brand. It's just a matter if they feel the market is there. Look at... And, it's crazy because we have the Lightning Collection with the classic Rangers, and then Super 7 is doing their, like, kind of Lightning Collection-esque Rangers, and then we have 3-0, I think it was, did their, like, 12-inch doll collection, which looks fantastic. Those probably are, like, the best you could ever get of the classic Rangers. I think it's 3-0. What's the company? Someone could correct me on that. They did, like, a 6-pack that opens up. It looks amazing. So it'll happen. It'll happen sooner or later. It's just a matter if the market is there. And I mean, everything that's like OG Power Rangers, like 93, 94, that's what always sells very well. So, Michael Koo says, and not getting West Coast Avengers in the MCU, at least not West Coast Avengers with Hawkeye. They're going to milk everything, Michael. They're going to do what they can to make money. If they have to like pay Hugh Jackman $1 billion or Robert Downey Jr. $1 billion to come back and do more movies, they will. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Wolverine in the future with Hugh Jackman. Even though he said he's done, I wouldn't be surprised. Money talks. Mikey says here, hey Proto, awesome as always. What are your thoughts on the upcoming Transformers deck building game and Transformers RPG game? The deck building game, I'm actually part of the playtesting group. I can't talk much about it. I am going to be sent a sample of future product. That's all I could say. The RPG, I put my feelers out to help with it. Never got any answer back from the person. The person who's in charge of the RPG is a separate division who's in charge of the deck building game. So the people at the deck building game tried to get me involved with the RPG and send out some contacts. Nothing came back, so what can I tell you? There's not much I could say about the RPG game. But the deck building game, it's pretty awesome. And there's a lot of cool stuff coming. That's all I'm going to say. And not just because I'm playtesting it and stuff. It was 3-0. Okay, thank you, John. It looks pretty awesome. So there's going to be a lot of cool stuff in the future. That's all I'm going to say. I haven't been talking about it at all on the podcast because of the NDA testing it and testing the future expansions and stuff too. It looks really cool. So be sure to check that out. The first set is available now for pre-order. If not, it's shipping out right now. I already, I got mine, but I can't talk about it. So, trust me, I constantly ask the two designers what I could talk about, what I can't talk about, and they have to talk to marketing. It's all craziness. Michael Koo wants to know, for Kingdom Galvatron, there are complaints that his shoulders aren't correct. That is true. What's wrong with his shoulders? They're assembled backwards. There has been reports that there's a second wave of them with a different assortment number that has them done correctly. So I have not seen the correct assortment number, so I can't tell you. But we will see. Ronus asks, Princeton says here, Ronus asks if you went on the HasLab Star Saber. So I could probably say this now. Someone sent me a sample. That's how they pay me. I was honest with you guys. I said what I didn't like about it and everything. Someone sent me. I didn't have to pay anything. But yes, I have one coming. But yeah, so that's why, you know, the one thing with you guys that I always want to tell you is, even though I'm sponsored by the corporate entity, I will always give you my honest opinion on anything, even stuff that's made by them. When I see something's wrong, I call it out. And it was hilarious sometimes when I would do the individual segments and reading the comments, having people say that I'm a hater, that I don't like stuff, and then other times, guys, you don't know. You don't know what's going on. That little logo in the corner isn't there for show, you know? So, but you guys should have known this already. You know, my name is on a bunch of... Anyways, you know, you guys should know this already. That's how I get paid. In toys. In plastic crack. Aaron knows what's happening. If Aaron's here still. Aaron knows what's up. What are your thoughts on it so far? Are we talking about HasLab Star Saber? Is that what we're talking about? I guess so. Look, I gave my opinions. I feel that, you know, look, I don't have to pay for it, but I feel bad for people that I feel have to overpay for something. I still firmly believe that, and I still stand by it. I firmly believe that it's $30 more than it needs to be. And that includes the MicroMasters, and that includes, you know, the V-Lock cannon. If you count like 2 commander classes, right? If you said, like, you know, Victory Leo is a commander class with the V-Lock cannon, all the extra baubles, and Star Saber is another commander, all the extra, you put those 2 together and you sell them, it's still not that much. I don't think it's that much in terms of plastic. But it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. I gave my 2 cents of how I feel. Obviously, I love the character Star Saber. You know, you can barely see, but you know, there's the Robot Masters. There's the original. There's Victory Leo. You can barely see, but behind this piece of wood is actually Victory Saber combined too, because I have an extra one. The masterpiece is there. The PVCs are up there. I love that character. But it's, you know, it's something where I just wanted to be honest with you guys. You know, I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat it. By the way, guys, people are asking, the sample that I'm getting is going to be probably the same thing you're getting. It's happened in the past where I get sent a sample. Probably what's going to be different is I might not, if they have a fancy box, I might not have the fancy box. That's it. I was sent a statue of Transformers, and they were like numbered statues, and mine was, it said sample on the side. It said sample Proto Man. It's so funny. And even on the numbered card, it said sample Proto Man. Who's texting me now? And it said sample Proto Man. And I'm gonna put this aside, people texting me. And the thing is that with that, you know, there was no difference from the final product. But I got a goofy box, like a So I don't know what they're going to do. It usually, like if Unicron was any example, it's going to be 9 to 12 months until we see this, until we get a good idea of what's happening. Obviously, there'll probably be updates with Hasbro Pulse that'll be on all the news boards. So we'll see. We'll see. Look, I'm in the same bed as you guys. You're probably going to get them the same time I will. You know, that's about it. Just mine won't be as fancy, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I won't even get the extras. Who knows? Who knows? We'll find out. We will find out. Is there any toy line that you decided to get rid of because it wasn't that important to you? I stopped collecting Marvel Legends just because I needed to focus on Transformers. I never ever got rid of anything that I started collecting. It's just more that, you know, I get what I need. Like, let's use Marvel Legends for an example. I collect select Marvel Legends stuff. You know, I don't get every Marvel Legends figure. I go, oh, that's a really nice, you know, Shadow Cat figure. Or that's a really nice Wolverine figure. Or that's a really nice, what was another one I got? You know, Captain Canuck. Vindicator, a.k.a. Guardian. You know, like I get certain figures because they're really nice and stuff. But it's not like I stopped collecting. It's more just, I like this and I like this. I'm with other toy lines, with the exception of, you know, maybe some video game stuff, even video game stuff. Like I love World of Nintendo, like that line of Nintendo stuff. But even that, I pick and choose certain characters. I don't have any examples here, but you know, like I love collecting the Koopa Kids and stuff. Like when they do the deluxe size ones with the wands and everything. But you know, I could live without owning like Mario figure number 77. So. Paul McDonald with the super chat. If the paint apps and stickers come out more premium, would HasLab versus be more worth it? Look, in all honesty, from what it looks like with Star Saber, his paint applications and everything, I don't think they're stickers. But his paint applications look just as good as anything else that we see from the Commander class. I mean, anyone who's... I loved Siege Jetfire. I think Siege Jetfire was a fantastic Commander class figure. Probably represents the Commander class the best out of the three. And Rodimus is cool, don't get me wrong. And that's coming from the Hot Rod Rodimus guy. But I found that Jetfire really encompassed what a Commander class is. Including, like, you know, just the little gimmick where he closes his fist and the little peg hole pops out, like in terms of engineering and stuff. His size, the little extra accessories, you know, all the little extra pieces. Just a really good example of that. And I feel that when I look at him, and a lot of people, when Jetfire existed, they were comparing, going, oh, this could totally be Star Saber. You know, they were all trying to figure out how it could be retooled in the Star Saber, oddly enough. But at the end of the day, you know, Star Saber isn't retail. So he is not retail. Ghidorah number 1, Ichiban, clearly a kaiju collector. I almost bought a kaiju today. Almost bought a Ultraman kaiju from Ultraman Greto. If you could put any TF series in a Super Robot Wars game, which would you choose and what attacks would there be? Well, I mean, the obvious business answer would be Convoy, aka G1 Optimus Prime, and I don't know, Meister, aka Jazz, maybe Bumble, aka Bumblebee, and just have them, you know, like, you know, Super Robot Wars, for people that don't know, it's a turn-based strategy RPG with famous robots throughout the years. And with Super Robot Wars, what's very well known about it is the progression of attacks. So you have like a regular attack, then you have a more cinematic second attack, and then you have a super cinematic third attack. And, you know, Optimus would be like, you know, convoy gun, you know, Energon axe, and then some crazy, like, turns into the truck, rams him a la 86 movie, jumps in the air, shoot, 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 shoot. That'll probably be his dramatic attack. So I imagine those three. They're going to go with, obviously, G1, because that's the most well-known. I'm reminded of, you know, Dream Mix, you know, Ultimate Battle for PlayStation 1, where they included Megatron and Optimus for that crossover. When you're talking mixing Transformers with other brands, you're obviously going to use G1. And they've done it in the past. There was the Mazinger Z crossover with Transformers, and it was all G1 characters. And ridiculously out of scale. But an interesting read, and had a lot of cool covers that were done by different artists. It has not been officially translated, unfortunately. I should probably get on that. I have all the raws of it. I should do that. Aiden Tulbert wants to know, we need Protoform X back in the toy line. Rampage is a trademark that exists, thankfully due to a Predaking combiner limb. So because Rampage is a limb, and because it's the name of a movie character, yeah, sooner or later we'll probably see Protoform X. That's why I always tell people, is your favorite character a trademark that pops around? Guess what? Oh, you like Armada Blur? You really like Armada Blur? Well, thank G1 Blur for keeping it alive, and you might get an Armada Blur one day. Let me just scroll up here so I don't miss anything. Collector Prime wants to know, as we're coming up on Halloween, how many times have you dressed up in a Transformer costume? I've never dressed up in a Transformer costume per se for a costume party. Every time I've gone to a costume party, I've always dressed up as like other things, DC characters or stuff like that, because they're usually much more fun to do. But when I have, like, usually when I go to these costume parties, they actually don't fall on Halloween. Usually it's on a weekend or something. When I stay home for Halloween to give candy out to kids, and on Twitter I've posted sometimes, I get the old 2007 movie Optimus Prime helmet with the voice change gimmick. And so when the kids ring the doorbell, I open the door and I have that different voice. Hey kids, how you doing? And I give them candies, and sometimes it scares the crap out of the younger ones. They go, oh my God. But I do that. I hold the Optimus Prime arm, that transforming Optimus Prime arm, and I give them candy and stuff and everything. I do stuff like that. That's the closest I do to pretty much dressing up as a Transformer. The odd thing is, in the other room, no joke, in the other room is the movie Hot Rod full onesie kid costume, the one that has like a plastic mask like this, with a onesie suit of movie Hot Rod with some plastic pieces that give like shoulder pads and everything. Obviously it doesn't fit me, it's for children, but I bought it because it's like, oh, it's Hot Rod and it's a collector piece in my mind, so I wanted to have it. It came in two sizes. It came in teenager and kids. The kids ones were on sale after the holidays, so I bought it. Sure. It's literally hanging in the other room right now. I should show you guys one day. It's so weird. It's so funny. It's probably one of the weirder things in my collection outside of Kiss Play. Let's see. Thunderbirds are awesome. Thunderbirds is amazing. I love Thunderbirds. Anyone that watched my Proto Man Father's Day special video where you saw my father's collection, he has a lot of Thunderbird stuff in his collection because he collects Dinky and Corgi, and Dinky and Corgi made some of the very first Thunderbirds toys. So Thunderbirds is amazing. I love Thunderbirds. They recently made a big Tracy Island playset, like a huge one in the UK, and it was shipped to Canada and stuff. I picked that up. I have it. It's actually upstairs. It sits in my guest bedroom. It just sits there, and Ultraman is standing on top of it because it's kind of like the scale in a lot of ways. It's funny. So I love Thunderbirds. Love it to death. Such a great series. A big part of my childhood, mostly because of my father. Thunderbirds are go. Andy Davis wants to know, favorite Gundam, favorite kit you've built. Well, and I'll add another one, favorite Gundam series too. Might as well, because that'll probably come up. Favorite Gundam series... I love 0083, Gundam 0083. When I try to introduce people to Gundam, like, you know, that's like UC Century, I love showing them 0083 because it's really good. Even the dub is good too. Like, I prefer sub, don't get me wrong, but for people who are like, you know, that don't like sub, like even the dub by Bandai of America was really, really good. Favorite Gundam? See, that's a tough one because I want to separate like UC Century stuff from everything else. The everything else, I'll go with Death Scythe from Gundam Wing. Maybe Death Scythe Hell Custom because that one's so cool with the bat wings. Not outside of UC Century. I'll have to go with 8th MS, the Gundam, but not the updated EC version, the base version. Like the one that didn't have like the moon technology on him. I really like that design with that cool like claw shield and stuff. I even love the GM from that, or the Gym as they call it. Really like that. Favorite kit that I built? That would probably have to be the special edition Chrome Master Grade 1x100 Charas Namble Zaku 2. It was a gift by a friend of the family who lived in Toronto. Love that kit. But probably a close second place, and I'd love to get a second one because I'd love to do 2 different versions. The 0083 GM Custom Lieutenant Burning version. 1x100 Master Grade. And I hope I didn't lose the audience talking about Gundam for a moment. But I love Gundam kits. I try to. Obviously, we couldn't recently because of the Big V. I try to compete in the World Gundam competitions every year in Montreal, and I get my little pin and everything. So 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row placing. Didn't win, but placing. And then, of course, the Big V happened and ruined that, so. Ruined my pin collection. Michael Koo wants to know, will Aaron Archer ever be invited to a Pulsecon? We will see. We will see. Who knows what the future brings? Right now, Pulsecon really is people who are involved with the engineering and designing. Aaron's not involved with the current stuff. So, would it make sense? Is the better question. Downright Superb Proto, why is Hasbro so hesitant to mix their own brands in media or even their own toy lines? Mostly because when you mix a brand, it's more so because, and this goes back all the way to Transformers versus G.I. Joe at Marvel. The only reason why people mix brands is when one brand needs help from another. If anyone knows The Simpsons, and if you don't, heaven help you, The Simpsons was on TV, and at the time there was a show called The Critic that had just come out from a similar studio. It wasn't doing very well, so they did a crossover with The Simpsons to help the views. And this dates back all the way to the Hanna-Barbera era. The Flintstones were popular. There was this new show called The Jetsons. The Jetsons were doing okay. They did a crossover to kind of help each other. So when you're doing crossovers, it's more so to help a brand that's wavering. That's where, like, I think if G.I. Joe was ever on its last legs, you're going to start seeing G.I. Joe crossover stuff. As much as, like, Power Rangers, Transformers, it just makes sense. We don't need to do that yet. Power Rangers is still strong right now. Transformers is still strong right now. They don't need to, chocolate and peanut butter don't need to go together to make Reese's right now. They're doing pretty good on their own. So I think that's the primary reason. If there was a brand that's wavering that they feel they could do something to help it, then that's a different story. But otherwise, it's not really. And it just isn't just Transformers, but anything really. That's usually why a crossover happens. Something that's like mutually beneficial. Ben Williams, Proto, what is your favorite episode of the first 3 G1 cartoons? Call of the Primitives is obviously the best animated episode, and I just like that episode just because of the animation alone. Prime Target, really good episode. Prime Problem from Prime Target season 2, really good episode. Prime Problem season 2, really good episode. Season 2 episodes of G1, there's some real good ones. There's some really garbage ones too, but there's some really good ones. Obviously, More to Meets the Eye parts 1, 2, and 3 have a special place in my heart. What's another good one? Burden Hardest to Bear, good episode. Some good lines in that from the sensei talking to Otobato-san. Get his giri. Think nothing. Those are some really good episodes. I mean, obviously I'm forgetting some. What's another really good one? God Gambit. That's a really good one. Introduces DevCon. Cool episode. Like that one. There's some really good ones. Season 4, obviously, Rebirth Part 1, 2, and 3 is pretty A lot of animation errors in that. Optimus, literally 90% of those episodes has a wrong painted head. Favorite non-Gundam mobile suit? Anything with GMs. I love GMs. I love GM Custom. Like I mentioned before, the GM Custom from 0083. I love the GM from 8th MS. I love the classic GM. My second master grade I ever got was the classic old RGM-79 GM. Love it. Painted the visor, everything, because it was molded in clear. It should have been green, so I painted it green, made it really nice. It's amazing. My Gundam collection, 90% of it isn't on display. It's such a shame. I keep them packed up so there's no dust on them, so when conventions come, I bring them for displays and stuff. If you go on my Instagram and you scroll down, you'll see some of my Gundam stuff throughout the years when I would do conventions. But what else? What else is good? Non-Gundam mobile suit stuff. Oh, favorite. Oh, hold on, wait. Maybe I misinterpreted. Favorite non-Gundam mobile suit. Are you talking about model kits that are not Gundam based, like the series, like Macross and stuff? Or are you talking Mecha series? I'm confused. Gundam greater than Gundam equals giant robots equals Transformers. Of course. You can anyone that says the RX-7, 8, did not influence battle convoy's design is crazy, Roman says my favorite Gundam is my perfect grade Unicorn Gundam. That's a cool design. I'd love to see that actual thing in real life at Japan one day. The closing horn. These are loafers. For these gophers. Michael Koo says, is there a Transformers book that delves into character design like your recent podcast about Zambot 3? Unfortunately not. I don't think Takara or Hasbro would ever want to call out where designs are inspired from. Because there's always the risk. Like, look, we know the Gundam inspired this. We know that, the double Zeta Gundam and the Zeta Gundam inspired Star Saber. We know. They don't want to acknowledge it because then Bandai could go, oh, we could sue you now. They don't want to do it. Fluro Deary acknowledging is a different story because the last time he's probably stepped into anything Hasbro related was, most of you weren't even born. So he doesn't care about mentioning Zambo Ace and going, yeah, it was Zambo Ace. What? So that stuff you have to dig. And me, like I said in that segment I just did, was it yesterday or the day before? That was me going face to face with those creators and asking them, going to each one of those guys. Because I find that when you interview them, they're always worried because they're being recorded and they don't want to say something, or they might slip up and say something that'll get them in trouble. They know when it's face-to-face, they could be a little more leisure with their talking. And if they do slip up, they could go, hey, could you just not talk about this or that? And, talking with Bob, talking with Ron, talking with Flint, trying to talk with Japanese interpreters, with Takashi Kuniharu, who literally just had style guides when he was making Mr. Over Here. He was just going off of style guides. He was new in the company at the time. So it's, I try to get down to that information. I'm glad a lot of people really love that segment. I was surprised because that was a Patreon listener question and that could have gone any way. Like if you listen to what the question was, but that was something that was an interesting topic. And it was kind of spawned a little bit also because of a conversation on Facebook that Robbie Musso from IDW was talking about. So I kind of was inspired by that too, in a lot of ways. Because oh yeah, Robbie was talking about that. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So, let me just scroll down, guys. Sorry if I'm missing anything. We got a gold super chat from Downright Superb. Just got to sip Downright. I had okonomiyaki today. It's very oily, so. Let's jump into it. How would a post-capitalist society affect the toy community? People have been making and enjoying toys since the dawn of time. Plenty of toy lovers do it for the love with no profit already. Well, you kind of have to just kind of look at it with, in terms of IP would be the biggest thing affected. Because think of places, and I hate to get political because I am not a political guy. I just enjoy life. But when you think about like where a lot of bootlegs come from, right? Places that don't have a capitalism kind of system. Creations could exist, but the problem is if creations could exist and then they find popularity among a group of people, the creator could get screwed over and people could profit from it and bootleg it. Great story. One of my YouTube inspirations, you know, people always ask me like which YouTube channels do I like. I don't watch other Transformer channels, but there is some guys that I really look up to. The Gaming Historian, one of them, and he did a great story about the creation of Tetris and how the guy who created Tetris in Russia didn't get jack. It literally like the best-selling handheld game of all time. Your mom probably played Tetris on the Game Boy. You know, everyone has played Tetris. This man didn't get zero. So going to your statement here, how would it affect the toy community? Imagine you created something, you know, in a world of 3D printing when it gets better, and you create this awesome 3D printed thing, and you created it, and you're selling it, and it's feeding your family, and you get to make money as an artist and stuff. Obviously, you could say, like you mentioned in your second part here, plenty of toy lovers who do it for little to no profit already. You still got to eat, though. You know, you still got to eat. So it's something where, imagine if you're barely getting by, you know, you work this grueling factory job in this post-capitalistic society, or you're breaking your back in the field just trying to make a living and feed your family before the harvest ends in this post-apocalyptic society where there's no capitalism or something. And at the end of it all, you finally make this really cool toy or something, and everyone loves it, and you make multiples of it. And then you find out some guy is copying what you're doing and managed to take it somewhere and make more money, brought it to the big city. Wouldn't that bother you? So that's something that I feel would be affected. Bootlegging would just be rampant. Just like how certain places in the world that don't really have a proper capitalistic society where bootlegging runs ridiculously rampant. IPs and ownership does not matter. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So that would be the biggest thing affected, is like literally the next day, all of a sudden, you think third party gets away with it there. All of a sudden, all these garage guys here in the United States would all of a sudden have the Transformer brand and do their own stuff and animations and everything. It would be a free for all. It would be probably the greatest thing in the world creatively and the worst thing in the world financially. And I'm not saying that as a company guy, because I'm not, but I'm just saying, like, even you who would be a small guy trying to make your own little thing would get screwed over in the long run. So that's one way to interpret it, I guess. You know. Michael Koo says, and how Choose Your Own Adventure, which was formerly trademarked, is now public domain. Yeah, I was talking in the Discord about that. About how, like, look, Choose Your Own Adventure was a thing. They saw how popular it was, and then all of a sudden, and here, I'll show you, like, they were talking about it. Here. Find Your Fate, Transformers. Find Your Fate, this is the Hot Rod one here. Find Your Fate Junior. The Invisibility Factor. And then you have Attack of the Insecticons. Like, they even did Transformer ones. They did, like, I think they did, like, 12 of these. You know? Like, even Transformers was like, we're gonna copy you. Let's put these back in the old library. But, you know, that's the problem. everyone's gonna to copy you the second they have the opportunity that they could. Oh, that's a great idea. How could I use that idea without getting sued? And then they have to kind of jump through the loopholes. But if they could take that idea and not get sued, it would be Choose Your Own Adventures Transformers, not Find Your Fate by whatever it was, Milton Bradley Books or something. So that's the craziness of that. Lizard Sphere X with the gold super chat. Thank you, Lizard Sphere X. Just like to say that I appreciate the complexity of Omega Prime Gotofaya Comboy. I love Gotofaya Comboy. Combo compared to the Victory Saber, but still love them. Well, it's two different eras. Does Godfire Convoy have DNA from any Brave characters? The only thing I would have to say DNA-wise that exists from Car Robots, Robots in Disguise, is the storytelling. The funny thing is, I think I've said this in the past, Car Robots, Robots in Disguise 2001, and Victory have so much in common. You have a main character leader who combines with his back piece to make a super robot. He has the Car Brothers, which are his side team, or in the case of Star Saber, he has the Brain Masters, his side team. Then you have the bad guys, which is a big bad dude on both sides, and then you have three idiot animal sidekicks for the bad guys in the case of the Death Strongers or the Decepticons, and the Dino King team. And then later on, an elite team comes to make that other team seem stupid. In the case of Car Robots, you have Scourge, aka Black Convoy, and the Destructicons, or whatever they called it in the dub, aka Baldigus, Combaticons. And it's the same thing with Star Saber and Victory. We had the Breast Masters and you know, everything with that, with Laio Kaiza. So, you know, there's a lot of parallels there. Then halfway through it, you end up getting a combiner character that's aggressive, God Magnus, Victory Leo. You know, combining is an issue. Then they end up getting along later. That's a very Brave formula. And both of those possess that. In terms of the design, the thing with, and you can barely see him. He's right over there. Oh, the door's kind of covering him. But there's Omega Prime, Godfire Convoy, and then I have the individual versions there. I bought that figure multiple times because I loved it. The thing about him is that his DNA design-wise, and most of those unique molds in Car Robots, because a lot of them were G2 and repaints and remolds, especially the bad guys, with the exception of Gigatron, everyone came from Beast Wars Neo. Excessive ball joints, really good articulation. A lot of that comes from there, including even Fire Convoy, Optimus Prime. So that's where more of the DNA is in terms of design. But otherwise, again, it's the writing that's really more Brave. Brave, like even Unicron Trilogy. Unicron Trilogy follows the Brave formula. Brave made that formula, well, technically, the prototype of it was created in Master Force. It was perfected in Victory, and then shot forward from that point on. If Zone would have been a full 52-episode TV series or 36-episode TV series, would have been the same thing. You have Diatlas shows up, and he has his sidekick Sonic Bomber, and then halfway through it, here comes Roadfire. That's going to be the upgrade combiner piece. That's how it would have been done. Halfway through the series, right in down the middle. Kind of like a 6th Ranger in Power Rangers, to get that extra piece to combine with the Megazord. Ben Williams, if Galvatron had killed Hot Rod and then Unicron destroyed Cybertron, would Galvatron have tried to kill Unicron afterwards or team up with the Autobots to use the Matrix? Well, here's the thing. If Galvatron had killed Hot Rod, when would that have opportunity would have came up? It would have came up when Hot Rod was inside inside Unicron. That would have been the opportunity. You know, if he would have strangled him to death, if that's even possible for something that doesn't breathe. But and then Unicron, and then Galvatron would have killed him. and then he would have been holding the Matrix, and he wouldn't have been able to use it because Unicron would still be manipulating him, and that would be that. There's a great What If book that was done by... Here, let me just pull it up. I always keep getting up to show you guys stuff, but let me just pull it out here. Where is it? Where is that great book by Tomoya? Here we go. The Return of Unicron by Tomoya, a amazing Japanese Transformers fan. It was a what if story where what if Rodimus went to open the Matrix of Leadership. Now light our darkest hour. And it didn't work. I don't want to spoil. Tomoya sells this book every time he's at a con. Why won't it open? Please, open. Aw, damn. I'm not going to spoil it. The Return of Unicron by Tomoya. He's one of the few guys that I follow on Twitter. Very close friend from the Japanese crew. Awesome dude. Awesome dude. And look, it's a thick book. It's a thick story. All in English. He translated it in English. Check out his stuff. If you're ever at a TFCon where Tomoya's at, I'll point him out to you if you want. And you can buy his stuff. Or Azusa sometimes has his stuff too. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. He did a what if story. What if he couldn't open the Matrix? And what happens? Downright Super Proto, does Beast Wars take place after the Japanese G1 continuity, or does that not count? Where does the G1 manga fit in? Are there separate continuities? So, number one, it was supposed to be... We'll start at the beginning. The G1 cartoon continuity of Japan is Super Fight Lifeform Transformers, which is Season 1 and Season 2 over here. Then we have Transformers 2010, which is Season 3 for us. In between Season 3 and Season 2, obviously we had Scramble City, which was the first appearance of Metroplex. We didn't get that here, although, again, we didn't get that here back then. The 86 movie. There's Scramble City Part 2, which is like a toy kind of thing, which isn't in continuity because it has Galvatron and Megatron in the same place. It's had been retconned since then. Then you have, obviously, Headmasters, Master Force Victory Zone, Operation Combination, Battle Stars, then Operation Combination. Then Generation 2 has story pages. Generation 2 has a story, explains what happens there. And then the golden age of Cybertron after Generation 2, Beast Wars happens. That's the continuity of it. As for the G1 mangas that you mentioned, originally the mangas were supposed to, like that first G1 Season 1, Season 2 stories of the mangas, were supposed to fit in with the cartoon. It's just like, the episodes happen in America, the manga happens in Japan. Like stuff happens in Japan. But as it continued onward, it kind of separated after Master Force. Master Force kind of did its own thing. Victory really did its own thing. So those are kind of separate continuities. And it's the same thing. The Beast Wars mangas, the Beast Wars Second mangas, the Beast Wars Neo mangas, all of them are their own thing. Completely different. Completely different. Not worse. They're actually quite interesting, but very different. Especially the origin of Big Convoy. Very different story. And really heartwarming and cool when you think about it. Good old Big Convoy. Why was Zone just one episode? Transformers wasn't doing so well back then in Japan. It was 1991 at that point. They did the Zone OVA. OVAs were very popular in Japan. A lot of OVAs make a lot of money. So their logic was, well, if this OVA sells well, then it'll be considered a pilot for the rest of the series. It didn't sell well. And that OVA even came with a Micromaster for free with it. You got Rabbit Crater. And, well, didn't do well. So it languished in story pages permanently, unfortunately, and one chapter of manga. Let's Let's see. Got to scroll down. I saw we had a super chat. I don't want to miss everything here. TF Toys not selling well. No money for animation. No full zone series. Exactly. Thank you, Michael. How do you read What If Optimus Prime Didn't Die comic? Have you read the What If Optimus Prime Didn't You Die comic? Are you referring to the Transformers Deviations book that is absolutely terrible and was so bad that they never did another one afterwards? Yes, I did read it. It's terribly written. I don't want to call out the guy who wrote it, but he's not a very good writer. That's all I'm going to say. We got a What If Optimus Prime, What If Hot Rod Didn't Interfere story, and he still dies. Spoiler. Trevor with the super chat wants to know, Proto, thanks for all you do. Keep your energy up. We're going to need your analysis. Keep going. Yeah, I know. I'm running a little energy today. I don't know why. Woke up early, did groceries, did a whole bunch of stuff. Still got a full day ahead of me. Tomorrow's going to be my cleanup day. Lazy Sunday. But thank you, Trevor, for the super chat and the kind words. Thank you, thank you. Let's keep going. Gatchaman OVA, I think, is awesome. The Gatchaman OVA is gorgeous. Battle of the Planets. Joseph Ritter. What up, Joseph? I'm just going to lean a little bit to the side here. Joseph Ritter wants to know, is Tidal Wave technically Shockwave? Love the shirt. Say hi to your wife for all of us and thank her for letting you stay a nerd. Yeah, thank you. When you're talking Tidal Wave, Shockwave is really just his Japanese name. Armada, all the names that it had in Japan, which was Superlink, were a lot of different names. Like, to give an example, Armada Blur was called Silverbolt. Armada Demolisher was called Ironhide or Iron Hand, depending on how you translate it. Armada, what was the other one? Armada Wheeljack was called Rampage. So there was a lot of confusing names. And when you get to the big purple man himself, Tidal Wave, although his toy was green, his animation model was purple. Tidal Wave was called Shockwave. Shook, 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 as he would say it in Japanese. Shockwave. Big dummy. It was just them using names. They were Armada and slightly Car Robots was the beginning of Hasbro starting to get back their trademarks, get some of those names back, and that's why so many of those Armada characters, Red Alert, Hoist, I'm just going to Red Alert, Hoist, Smokescreen, Jetfire, Thrust, Scourge, Demolisher, Starscream, Thundercracker, Skywarp. Tidal Wave's a new trademark. That's a new one. Sideways was a new trademark. A lot of the mini-cons were new trademarks. Not all of them. There was a Cliff Jumper, which was a female character, oddly enough. But, there was a lot of new old trademarks that were brought back in a lot of ways. So that's where that comes from. And then when Tidal Wave became his new form in Energon, he was called Shock. I think it was called Shock Blast. They called him. But then not to be confused with Shock Blast, the Shockwave character, which was called Laser Wave because they couldn't call him Shockwave at the time because I think they were trying to get the trademark back, but they were using a G.I. Joe character to get that trademark back, which was called Shockwave. It's confusing. And I think there was an Alternators toy. The trademark was also called Shock Blast. Something like that. That was all in 2003. Confusing times. Transformers Zone reprint is in Transformers the Manga Volume 3. Yes, it is. Very good. Go pick those. If you guys have not picked up Viz Media's Transformers the Manga stuff, they are on sale right now on Amazon. They are amazing. They are hardcovers. They are better than the Japanese versions. And I own the Japanese versions, which is crazy. They are so good. They are so good. Where are we at? Downright Superb Proto, if you were Kang the Conqueror, spoiler, someone's son from the Fantastic Four, if you were Kang the Conqueror, where would you go back in time to fix a crucial mistake in the timeline in the Transformers brand? I don't think there... You know what the problem is? I think that nothing that happened to the Transformer brand happened because of the Transformer brand. I think that, like anything in life, stuff marches forward, and let's say they didn't kill Optimus, right? Let's say they didn't kill Optimus Prime in the 86 movie. You know what would have still come out in 1987? Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles would have still come out. And Ninja Turtles would have still blown away the world. So I don't think Optimus dying. I hate it when people are like, oh, Optimus, that's why Transformers went down. And then, no, it didn't. Because he came back afterwards, and it went on for a whole bunch of other years. It didn't make a difference. Ninja Turtles came out, Ninja Turtles came out and blew the world off of its feet, Anyone who was around during that Ninja Turtles era, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 3 live-action movies, all of them financially successful, a rock concert at the Music City Hall in New York, Turtles, 2 ridiculously successful arcade machines, multiple handhelds, multiple consoles. Transformers had none of that during its 3 years that it ruled the world. You were not going to beat Turtles. How do we fix the Transformer brand when they screwed up in G2? G2 came out in 93. You know what also came out in 93? Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. G2 could have been the most crazily perfect devised idea, and it wouldn't have beaten Power Rangers. Power Rangers was too different, too unique. I mean, the only way I can say that you want to beat Power Rangers is if somehow Hasbro made their own Toku live-action combiner series that was called Transformers to counter Haim Saban's Power Rangers. That would be the only way. But then you'd just be not being Transformers. You'd be guys in suits. And people were, at that moment in time, kids were ready to look at a badly dubbed Rita Repulsa. Speaking of which, one of my recent purchases, a little PVC Rita Repulsa figure from South Korea. I like collecting Keshigumus. Kids were ready to watch a badly dubbed Rita Repulsa complain about having a headache, and guys in suits, Godzilla style, they were ready for it. They loved it. And Transformers was not going to be that. So it's all about what the world was ready for. After Toy Story came out and Reboot came out and CG became the thing, Beast Wars became what it was. And at the time, what Power Ranger was not going to be able to compete with Beast Wars. What Ninja Turtles was at the time, the next mutation, it wasn't going to compete with Beast Wars. So it's all about timing. Sometimes there's nothing you could do. It's just where kids are at that moment in the mentality of the world. But I hope that answers that, because I feel that there's nothing you can do. If I was going back in time, there's other things I'd be doing. I'd be buying some nice mint in box stuff to have, complete. I'd go back, sometimes I'm like, oh man, what would I do if I could go back in time? I'd get like key issues of comic books, like they always say, like you could go back in time, you could only go back in time up to a point where you were alive. Like you can't go like to the 60s and stuff like that. So I'd be like, okay, I'll go back in time and get some of those key issues of 90s comic books that are worth a lot of money now, like Deadpool and Cable and stuff. First appearance of Harley Quinn. I'd go back in time and get magic cards that no one thought were going to be worth tons of money that are money today. That's what I would do. Get some of that stuff that cost me a lot of money now if I wanted to buy it. Michael Koo, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers, they were bigger than G.I. Joe and Transformers. They were bigger than G.I. Joe and Transformers during their peak. I almost feel that Transformers, when it was at its peak in 2009, 2010 with Revenge of the Fallen, was bigger than Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I'll tell you why. Because Ninja Turtles was taking over. When I say it was taking over the world, I mean it was taking over America, Canada, Europe, but that's it. Ninja Turtles wasn't taking over China. Ninja Turtles wasn't taking over Japan. It had a presence. There's Japanese exclusive Ninja Turtle stuff, but it wasn't taking over Japan. It wasn't like a big property there. Power Rangers, The Sentai stuff you have to divorce from the Power Ranger stuff. So it's two different entities. Even though it's technically born from the same primordial goo. But when you're talking Transformers, during that Revenge of the Fallen 2009, 2010 peak, everyone in the world was a Transformer fan. And I don't think we'll ever return to that peak, but man, I don't even know if maybe every kid in America loved Ninja Turtles, where when Transformers was at its peak in 2009, not every kid loved Transformers. But I think on a worldwide basis, I think there was more Transformer fans. And I think the numbers speak for it more than anything in terms of the success, because Ninja Turtles, as big as it was, and as Power Rangers as big as it was, it never found a way to return to that in the mainstream, whether it be live action movies or television. Yeah, there's new series and they do okay, but they never reach those highs ever again. Where Transformers, look, those movies still made more money than any Ninja Turtle. Look, Bumblebee still made more money than any Ninja Turtle or Power Ranger movie. And I mean the recent ones. So, and Bumblebee the movie was supposed to be the weakest of the bunch. So it shows that the power is still in Transformers' hands in a lot of ways. What about Rugrats with Phil and Lil Combiner or Reptar repainted as Beast Wars Megatron? I love Reptar, by the way. I actually have, back in the day, shout out to Mario, not the character, someone from my mechanic school. Back in the day, we all had our mechanic uniforms, and we had patches of, like, you know, racing teams and stuff. And I had this guy named Mario, and he would get patches of, like, cartoon characters and stuff. And he got, like, Homer pointing at his butt as a patch, and then he got Reptar as a patch. And I was like, where did you get that? And he got it from Toys R Us back in the day. They had, like, Reptar patches. And I got one, and I put it... I love Reptar as a design. I don't know, because I like Ultraman and Godzilla and stuff like that. So Reptar, which is pretty much a Godzilla parody, you know, who's, like, the most popular kids brand in the Rugrats universe. He has movies, he has a skating performance on Ice Capades, he has, like, all kinds of stuff, video games. Reptar. Gotta find the Reptar. Michael Koo, if you could go back in time, if I could go back in time, I would buy a Mint Box Shogun Warriors. Yes, I would buy a Mint Box Shogun Warriors Daimos. Ooh, I want a Mint. I don't have a jumbo Daimos. I would love to have a jumbo Daimos. That's like one of the few things that's missing from my collection that I don't have. I would love to own one. Just they're so expensive now to get complete ones. Princeton has to say, have you seen the MBKK SR01 King of the Sniper Prime that transforms into a sniper rifle? Is that a third-party thing? If so, no, I haven't. I've not seen that yet. Let's see. TikTok goes the clock. Oh, really? What time is it now? Oh, man, it's 9:30 already. We got half an hour left, people. We got half an hour left. Holy moly. Proto, if I'm missing out on some popular mainline stuff right now, should I just pay the extra $10 online now or wait for a convention? If you have the opportunity to go to cons, always wait for cons, because by the time you get to conventions, there's always some kind of new flavor of the month, and that old stuff that you were looking for is ridiculously cheap. I will never forget TFCon, charity auction, gosh, what year was it? Whatever the year was, just before Titan's Return came out. Someone donated the first wave of Titan Returns ahead of its release date. Mint on card. I think it was Hasbro Canada that did it. I don't remember who it was. And each individual Titan Return Deluxe was selling for like $50, $60 each. It was crazy. Crazy, because it was, brand new hot toy. The following year, now it's not Titan Returns, it's Power of the Primes. What is being donated to the charity auction? Loose, incomplete, or complete Titan Return stuff. People don't care anymore a year later. Now, granted, there's some Titan Return stuff that's worth money still to this day, Windblade or Perceptor, although that number is going to go down over time. But, you know, it's everything. If you have an opportunity to go to cons, Cons are always the best place to find deals, especially when you're I call it a bin digger. When you could dig through bins for stuff and it's just loose figures, you're always going to find deals. Always. God. Orlando wants to know, why do you think Transformers has more staying power than things like G.I. Joe, Ninja Turtles, and other things in 80s and 90s? Without trying to be funny with puns, it's because it transforms, because it's different. The reality with... I'll target Ninja Turtles first, right? Ignore the toys. The toys have all kinds of different designs. Oh, here's Baseball Raphael. Here's Surfing Raphael. Here's, Undercover Raphael. Here's Mutant Changing Raphael. But in the show, it's Vanilla Raphael. It's always going to be Vanilla Raphael. Once in a while, a new mutant, antagonist will show up or a protagonist friend. But it's always Vanilla Turtles. And every new series, it's still Vanilla Turtles. Like, it's still the 4, April, Splinter, and that's it. If they ever mixed it up, introduced new characters, introduced a 5th turtle, Venus, no, things would be different. Look, when Beast Wars first came out, I was there. Everyone said it was the worst thing ever. Oh, it's the end of Transformers. It's the worst thing. I hate it. There's a post on Twitter. It's a collage of when Animated debuted. Transformers Animated. And I posted around the poster of Transformers Animated all the comments of people after they saw Animated going like, it's the worst thing ever. It looks so stupid. Oh, it's, time speaks for itself. History speaks for itself. Ninja Turtles needs to take more risks, and I think that as time will pass, people will respect it more. I think they need to bring back Venus. I know it sounds crazy. You bring back the female turtle, don't make her a sibling. Make her, maybe a love interest or something. Introduce Venus, and that's it. Or make her a sibling. Or maybe you can make her a sibling. You could create some kind of cute relationship with her and Mikey or whatever. But it's something where, bring her back. Mix it up a bit. Stop with the 4 turtles, April and Shredder and Splinter. Do something different. But they don't want to. They're too scared. And I think that Transformers is falling into that too, which could hurt it later on. As for stuff like you mentioned G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe has too many problems right now. It's more just the world we live in today that something like G.I. Joe would not succeed. G.I. Joe was only super popular in the United States. In Canada, Transformers was more popular than G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe toys, when they were released in Canada, they put Canadian flags on them. They would actually slap Canadian flags on it just to make it more not just real American hero. And we all know how it was also packaged in the UK, where it was Action Force and it was, international heroes and stuff. So, downright superb. You should check out Reptar, the new Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. Yes, I saw that actually. My only complaint about the game, and I was shocked, and it's obviously probably a licensing thing and a budget thing. That game has no voice acting. So a game that is based on all these amazing cartoon brands and no characters' voices are unit. Like, you play as SpongeBob, and at no point does SpongeBob make any of his sounds. You play as April, you play as the Turtles, you play as, Ren and Stimpy or any of that stuff. How do you not have voice acting? I'm hoping that maybe in a future DLC for it, they'll have the voice acting, and maybe it's just an early budget problem, because it's clearly a very good game. They clearly put a lot of time and energy to it, and I feel like it would be great because Smash Brothers could be the All-Star Brawl for fighting games, and this Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, if they want to open it up, much like, Smash Brothers started Nintendo, and then it started opening up to other brands with Squaresoft and Capcom and everything. So it's the same thing where one day maybe All-Star Brawl for Nickelodeon could open up to other cartoon series and be the place for cartoons. That would be cool. That would be cool. But get the voice acting. My goodness. Get the voice acting. Like, the game looks great. It sounds weird without voice acting. It sounds empty. You need that. That's just Proto Man's little video game rant there. Where we at? I don't want to miss any. Guys, if I miss anything, please just repost it. Sometimes stuff gets pushed up. Proto, what do you think of the first 8 issues of the Beast Wars comic book? I think it's fantastic. I think Josh Burcham and the crew are doing an incredible job. I don't want to talk too much about it because not everyone has read them or has access to them right away. But fantastic book. Easily my favorite Transformer comic book that is out right now, without question. Although the Shattered Glass books, issues 1 and 2, are out right now, and those are pretty good thus far. I'd like to see more before I have a final judgment, but 8 issues of Beast Wars, and it's looking real good. Looking real good. Don't let the art fool you. Really good book. Really good book. Michael Koo with the super chat. Can you give any heavy metal updates? Nothing yet, unfortunately. Nothing yet. I'm actually going to be upgrading phones soon, and I'm going to be doing some new heavy metal updates with them, letting them know, oh, how does this phone handle to this one? Because another reason why I was brought in, this is an iPhone 5. They want to see, I got a text again. They want to see how well you could play on an iPhone 5. So they're testing the limitations because they, the more a cell phone game could be used on older phones, the more that it opens up the pool of people that could play it. So I'm going to be upgrading soon and then testing on newer hardware to then let them know how that handles. And my buddy Julian is also playing on, as he refers to as his China phone, one of his bootleg phones, and testing the stuff with that too. So it's a lot of just avoiding crashes. And when you're talking a game that involves micro purchases, it's pretty much Pokemon Go. Micro purchases, not wanting to lose your progress. They want to make sure everything is flawless. The last thing they need is someone, gets a whole bunch of rare stuff in the game, invests all this time and money, and then something crashes and everything's wiped. So they're trying to make sure everything's perfect before a public release. Proto, what is your MVP figure of War for Cybertron trilogy? I gotta vote Huffer. I think it is a true mini masterpiece with almost no room for improvement and at a perfect price. I don't want to talk about, it's the same thing like when they did the fan vote for the Hall of Fame this year. I don't want to talk about what my favorite figures are yet because at the end of the year I do my top 5 Transformers of 2021. So I'm going to save it for then. It's pretty, you could probably guess what some of them might be. But it's something that me and Jaws D do every year. It's actually like when you go to the channel, it's the pinned featured video is 2020's top 5, excuse me. Why do I always say top 10? Top 5. But yeah, it's something that just stay tuned for that. I don't want to spoil. I like to save it for the end of the year and let people know what I think is the greatest. I could tell you what what I liked from but then you could just watch the top 5 of 2020. I liked Grease Pit from Earthrise. I liked who was good from Siege. I like the Micromasters from Siege. Love the Micromasters from Siege. So yeah, that's just some of them. Michael Koo says China phone, laugh out loud, must be bright red and yellow. No, it's Michael, it's not because of that. It's Julian's actually Chinese, and so he gets a lot of bootleg stuff. But if you ever go to TFCon or if you do conventions where I'm there, Julian's probably with me. He's one of the guys that I run with. He always buys bootleg stuff. He's King Scalper too. Let's put it this way. King Amiibo Scalper. Have you gotten any Shattered Glass Transformers, and are you going to get them all? I pre-ordered one of them. I haven't gotten it yet. I would like to get them all at some point. They're starting to show up in retail, so I'll probably get the others that way. The only one that I really want to get that I don't have on pre-order is the Megatron. That's the one I'm probably looking forward to the most. But the other ones I would like to get too. I would like to get them also. They're cool. I have all the Shattered Glass stuff from the BotCon era. It'd be cool to have those companion pieces to compare, especially the Megatron. I think the Megatron. I mean, I understand some people aren't a fan of the alt mode, but because it's just tacked on pieces. But I think it's the nicest looking of the bunch. Just looks so cool, so cool. GameStop will be Michael Koo says GameStop will be getting the Reflector War for Cybertron Refractor 3-pack. How much time we have left? We have 15 minutes left. Woof, man. Guys, we flew today. We flew today. Absolutely crazy, guys. We still got 15 minutes left, though. What was I going to also show you guys? I wanted to show you some other stuff. Like some of the other PVCs I got. I got Gudis from Ultraman. He's one of the weird villains. And then they sent me this... They sent me this from Korea. A whole bunch of packs of Japanese baseball cards. I don't know what I'm going to do with these. But probably going to give them away to a friend who likes baseball. He's a big Toronto fan. Likes his Blue Jays. Shattered Glass Megatron arrived last week, and he looks cool. He is in the cupboard, though, as he is... for my son from Santa. Ben, you're giving him a really good present then. You're giving him a really good present. You know what's funny? I never got, the closest thing I ever got to Transformers as a Christmas present was during Beast Wars. I got Pterosaur from my sister, who was a basic class figure, and I got a Transformers book, which was, I believe, the Arctic Press unofficial guidebook, which was done by not Trent Troop. Hold on. Forget who did that one, the title. It's really good, though. I like that one. And I got that for Christmas one year also. Oh, and I got Depth Charge. Depth Charge was a Christmas present. And then I technically got something through a gift exchange, but I don't count that as a Christmas present. That's more of a gift exchange thing around Christmas time. Proto, do you have a Commander Cody toy from Star Wars? Oh, Commander Cody Transformers toy. Yes, I do. I do have the crossover one. Yes, I do. The only one I'm missing that I would really like to get, I never got the Yoda. That one was so ugly. The Transformers crossover Yoda was so weird looking, and I never saw it, and I would have loved to pick it up. Would have loved to pick it up. Ben says here, Santa has ordered all of the Shattered Glass and some others for my son. Draculus came last week as well, but that was a being good at school present. Well then, I'm glad that how old's your son? I'm glad to hear that there's youngins that enjoy toys, because it's something that a lot of kids today, they don't care. They really don't care. A lot of them rather be on their iPhones. Mikey, Titanium's Grimlock turned into some kind of weird tank thing with exhausts. It's one of the tougher 6-inch Titanium figures to get. Let's see. How much time we got left? We got 10 minutes left, man. We got 10 minutes left. Michael Koo says, Ben, you're an awesome dad. Why? Who people are texting me like crazy? Guys, Saturday night. Everyone's texting me today. Let's see. Let me just see one more thing. Ben says, he is 5. I sent you some... Oh, yeah, that's true. I didn't know how old he was, though. I sent you some pics of us at the submarine from TF5 when he took Bumblebee. So he's 5 years old. Man, how long is that going to last? Because you know what? Because the first time I noticed kids really stopped caring about Transformers was around the time that Skylanders came out. Skylanders did their Giants subline, that expansion. And then that was around the same time the Dark of the Moon came out. And then I just noticed everything, sky just dived from there, And then the cell phones and Minecraft, and the rest was history. Ark wants to know with the super chat. Thank you, Ark, for the super chat. Hey, Proto, my question is why you think Beast Wars didn't have any mythical beasts like Phoenix, Griffins, etc. Think that would be cool? Well, technically, when you think about it, like, a Griffin, that's a Fusor, and that's kind of what Silverbolt was. And when you think about it, Megatron was a dragon, so that's kind of a mythical creature. I think it's just more them trying to be realistic. If you're going to scan... I think the only thing that's far-fetched is Megatron. Transmetal 2 Megatron turning into a dragon, it's kind of like, what is... being a T-Rex who's transmetal, getting Megatron, G1 Megatron Spark, how does that... And then falling into lava makes you a dragon. You know what I mean? Where at least like with Silverbolt, even though he turns into a griffin, it's more that he turns into a wolf that has wings, and a griffin just happens to be a fusion of some, different things. It depends on which version of a griffin. Sometimes it has a woman's body with a lion's, thing. Lion's body. A woman's upper torso with a lion's body. There's different versions. Mythical beasts, just look at those Fusors, and then I'm pretty sure there's some kind of culture that has some kind of nightmare that looks like the Fusors, Like Bantor, the baboon with the lion bee. Oof. I love that toy, but what an ugly looking dude. Or was it Injector? Injector, the bee, or is it a wasp? It's either a bee or a wasp with a piranha. What an ugly design. Some nightmare fuel. Orlando says, my 4-year-old nephew was into Transformers until my War for Cybertron Omega Supreme. And freaked until he saw my War for Cybertron Omega Supreme and freaked out. Oh yeah. Bailey Harpster with the super chat. What's up, Bailey? Hey Proto, what figure characters do you want most from the Studio Series line? From the live action movie verse stuff, I just would really like to see the Fallen at this point. I would love to see a Fallen figure. The rumors of a leader class Fallen would be amazing. Have it where like his face could come off and you could have the skull under it, that he comes with his staff, and just painted properly. Give me he doesn't even have to transform well. Just make a good Fallen figure. That's what I want. Good robot mode. I want a really good Fallen figure. Studio Series 86. I don't know. Let's revisit some of those designs and see what you could do with Studio Series 86. Springer? The Siege one is pretty good. I don't know what you could do to make it better for Springer, but Springer. Let's talk about Rodimus Prime, maybe a different interpretation. I don't know. There's a few for the Studio Series 86 ones, but it's just I feel that we might see that kind of stuff with Legacy too, so... When we're talking movie stuff, give me the Fallen. The Fallen's probably on the top of my list just because he needs a good toy. It's been a while. Get back that trademark. Come on, Fallen. And don't call it Megatronus, for the love of God. Don't be, if they don't have that trademark, it's going to suck. Ben Williams, my son is in love with Star Saber, so HasLab had to happen, but he calls him Star Saver. So he's calling him what the Japanese call him, pretty much. Because V's and B's, in Dragon Ball in Japan, if you listen very carefully, they go Vegeta. They don't say Vegeta. Vegeta. So Star Saver, Star Saber. Same thing. Minerva, Minelba. That's another one that happens. It's not out of the question. Convoy. Fire convoy. You're like a bee. Fire convoy. Because sometimes they can't get that V in. It happens. Good old Japan. So your son is Japanese. He thinks he's Japanese. He really thinks so. Commander Class Motormaster. What are we at now? We got 6 minutes left. Oh, man. Guys, we are running out of time. 6 minutes left in the stream. We did good today, despite the fact we didn't have a lot of news this week. Next week is going to be... Next week is going to be crazy. Next week is going to be because I'm not going to be at TFCon next week. It's border issues. It's the big V, guys. I'm not not getting involved with the craziness, with the borders and all that nuttiness with the conventions. I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna deal with that headache. Not to mention what I heard you have to do to get back and everything, and paying money out of my pocket when I'm used to Canadian when I'm used to Canadian medical. It's nutty. So I'm going to be missing TFCon, unfortunately. It's going to be the first time I've missed a TFCon in a very long time. But I don't know. I think I'll survive. So that same weekend that will be TFCon weekend, we're going to try to do something special. Obviously, we're going to have all the announcements Saturday from the Hasbro Pulse stuff. So we're going to have a whole bunch of segments and everything. But also, that same Saturday, we're going to have our live stream. And I'll try to make it special. Maybe I'll try to bring in a guest. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll try to do something cool. But there will be a live stream next week. 100%. 100%. The only time there won't be a live stream is if I'm actually going to a TFCon. And I'm actually skipping out on this one. So we will see what happens. Michael Koo says, Proto Man, are you still having a live stream on next Saturday? Yes, I am. Princeton wants to know, do you think Hasbro will turn Kingdom Rodimus into Unicronus? Oh, they're going to do something with that. They're going to do something with that mold. You could do gold repaint and call it Primus. You could do black repaint and call it Rodimus Unicronus, or whatever you want to call it. Maybe they'll do a shattered glass version. Just call it Shattered Glass Rodimus. They're going to do something with that mold. Look. We already got Shattered Glass Jetfire, so we saw what they're going to do with that commander class. I'm curious what they're going to do with Skylinks, because they don't want to waste all that time and energy. So they got to do something with Skylinks. But yeah, we'll see. Proto Man, see if Jaws D could join you. I'm going to try to get Jaws D in the future. 100% Jaws D will be around for the top 5 Transformers. He will be around for that, don't worry. Getting him on Saturdays is tougher, though. Last time Jaws D was on the stream, I think it was a Sunday, we got him. And I noticed that Sundays are kind of quiet. Some of you guys, you have work the next day and everything, so it's a lot tougher for you. But we'll see. I'm going to play it by ear. As the week progresses, I'm going to be talking to different people, and we'll bring in some people that hopefully you'll enjoy, that we could have that narrative and talk, and you could ask super chats to the guests, and we'll do that kind of stuff. Let's see, we got 3 minutes left, so I'll answer probably some non-super chats right now just for the heck of it. But first, Ben wants to know, was Rodimus Unicronus taken from a comic idea? I seem to remember G1 Comics doing that. Black Rodimus was originally a e-hobby repaint, which was a text story written in the bio. He was just an evil clone of Hot Rod that then was, reformatted into a unknown Autobot that joined the Autobots afterwards, and then sacrificed himself at one point to save Hot Rod in an e-hobby story. Then there was the evil black repaint Rodimus with the animated stuff. Then there was an evil black Hot Rod with the which again, evil clone, with the masterpiece MP09B. So there's always been evil black repaints. Obviously Shattered Glass did evil Rodimus. It's just the idea of a Rodimus Unicronus was just a trademark used for the Power of the Primes black repaint, and then they ran with that for the Power of the Primes Go 90 comic. Are you going to TFCon Toronto in December? We shall see. Anything when it comes to TFCon Toronto, we don't really cover until the next, when Baltimore is done, then we'll kind of look forward at that, and we'll see how the world is in a couple months. It's kind of hard to talk about that now because we're still focusing on the other one. But that's, it's the first time they've been so close together, literally 2 months apart, which usually is not the case. Usually a BotCon and a TFCon were 2 months apart, but never a TFCon and another TFCon. So we'll see. We got 30 seconds left. 30 seconds left. Craziness. So I will answer one more. Hey Proto, do you know what kind of tank is Core Class Megatron? I don't know. I'm not a big tank guy. I don't know. It's a tank. It's a tank with a short barrel. And Ben says here, did Rodimus get possessed in the G1 comics, though? Yes, he did get possessed by Unicron. The later Simon Furman UK exclusive stories. Let me pull out the actual book, which is called Aspects of Evil, where he was possessed. This is the trade paperback versions of it, which were in black and white, because they were originally in black and white. I love those books. Simon Furman is the man. And the last thing, Andy wants to know what's for dinner. I had okonomiyaki before we did the podcast. I think that's what kind of made me more tired. Probably not going to eat anything afterwards. Maybe have a little snack here and there, and that'll be it. And that'll be it. So thank you, everyone, for coming. Once again, it was an amazing stream. We popped out about 170 today of people. Pretty cool stuff. Thanks, everyone who comes by and hangs out. Thanks again to Symbiote Studios for being our sponsor and hooking us up with all the cool stuff, the plush, the pins, and everything. And, of course, Hasbro for being a sponsor, because they're cool. I'll always be honest about Hasbro stuff, though. But, again, thank you guys for coming, supporting the podcast. Again, if you want to continue supporting the podcast, watch our content, like, comment, subscribe, share it around. If you could join the Patreon, that would be great. You don't have to, but it would be great if you can, because it justifies this craziness that we do. But otherwise, it's been super having everyone again. Thanks, everyone, for coming. I hope you learned something today, and I hope to keep teaching you guys about the craziness of this brand and everything that goes on with it. And as always, like I say, roll out.